in my previous talk, I said about what they called the air shaft on the Great Pyramid, whether those extend from the king chamber or from the queen chamber, nothing to do with the air. Also, I said about the two voids, the big or the small, both of this related to what I call the creation of the sun. I have also the recent opinion about that which supported what I am said. It's said by Dr. Zahi Hawass and Mark Lena in their book Giza and the Pyramid in page 156. They said, perhaps the most enigmatic features of the Khufu pyramids are the so-called air shaft. Long narrow passages that lead from the north and the south sides of both the king's and the queen's chamber, upwards at an angle through the masonry of the pyramids. Those from the king's chamber extend to the pyramid exterior. Look here, this is from the king chamber, extend to the exterior of the pyramid. But from the queen chamber doesn't extend to the exterior, which meaning nothing to do with the air. They also added, in fact, they probably had nothing to do with conducting air. In fact, smooth white casting stone may have obstructed the opening on the pyramid face, if not covered them completely. What's this meaning? We know that the pyramids covered by limestone, and they said it may be the limestone covered the opening of what so-called the two air shaft, and that's meaning nothing to do with the air shaft at all. We shall explain this, how this related to the creation of the sun through our series. Now, I prefer to summarize all the important ideas of my book and present them in the form of series under the title The Sacred Luxor, which will explain many problematic and will answer questions that have been mysterious towards the learner of Egyptology for years. One of this problematic is the old interpretation of the mace head and the palette of the king in Arma, the first king of the first dynasty. We speak about 3100 BC. He was the king of Upper Egypt, entered the old interpretation. It's according what the Egyptologists said. They said he entered in a battle against Delta, the north of Egypt or the lower of Egypt. Then after Narmer he got the victory, he made unification between Upper and Lower Egypt under his authority in one kingdom. This old interpretation, in fact, still being repeated by the modern Egyptologists without any attention from them to the accumulation resulting from excavation work over a period of 120 years since the discovery of these two items. Especially, the German archaeologists who have been re-examining the early cemeteries at Abydos have increased the evidence for politically and culturally united Egypt well before the first dynasty. In their work on the royal tombs in Cemetery U, they have found royal tombs that are probably earlier than the time of the king in Arma. This may demonstrate that certain element of Egyptian kingship stretched back at least 150 years earlier than the beginning of the first dynasty. Now, I claim the mace head and the palette of Narma explain the creation of the sun. Yeah, the creation of the sun with Horus the Great as the sun god started from this three holy hill of Al Bayadiyya city, extended from the hill of Al Bayadiyya in the east of Luxor to the Karnak temple, to a place on the west bank of Luxor called Khefet Herneps, to the peak of Korna. Okay, this is the place of the creation of the sun. Horus the Great, he created the sun through kind of movement by his body. This has been all explained, and I shall make it more clear when I start to interpret the mace head and the belt of Na'arma. Yani what I am saying now about the creation of the sun, I shall make it more clear on the picture, on the whole scene, on the belt and the mace head of Na'arma. Three movements from him. The first movement, he made a square. This square produced the second movement, spiral. This spiral also animated or created the third circular movement. The creation of the sun, as I said, extend from the three hills of El Bayadiyah, east of Luxor, to Karnak temple, to Khefet Herneps area in the west bank of Luxor, to the peak of Korna in the west bank. My series, it will contain the following element. One, who discovered the mace head and the belt of Na'arma and where. Two, I shall show the old interpretation and the old opinion of Egyptologists being said about the belt and the mace head of Na'arma. Three, my criticism, I shall criticize all what being said in this old interpretation. Four, I shall present my interpretation about the mace head and the belt of Na'arma. Now, what about the mace head and the belt of Na'arma? The place where we found these two important items, I like to show how is the importance of this place. Here, according the words of Mr. the Egyptologist Michael Hoffman, he was the director of pre-dynastic and research at Heracleopolis. This is the place which we found these two items. He said, Heracleopolis, here, this is Mr. Michael Hoffman. When he spoke about Heracleopolis, here we can find in the map. This is Heracleopolis, south of Luxor, about 80 kilometers. South of Luxor, about 80 kilometers. Okay? He said Heracleopolis possesses the largest and the best preserved complex of pre-dynastic and early dynasty sites in Egypt. It's a huge residential, administrative, industrial, ceremonial and mortuary sites provide unique archaeological documentation for the critical period of Egypt's transition to statehood between about 4000 and 2700 BC. This is the importance of the place of Heracleopolis. The Greek name Heracleopolis, it's a Greek word, describes the walled city called Nakhan, city of the falcon god Horus, which is also known to archaeologists by the Arabic name today El Qom al-Ahmar, meaning in English the red mound. It's at, we said, 80 kilometers south of Luxor. The word Qom refer to the mounds composed of ruins of ancient settlement. Heracleopolis in Upper Egypt also was believed to be one of the two prehistoric capitals of Egypt. The other being called Boto in Delta. In 1898, the British Egyptologist James Cobble, with his colleague Frederick Green, they uncovered what they call the main deposit in an early temple enclosure at Heracleopolis. The main deposit was buried collection of objects including pallets, mace heads, and carved ivory figurines. One object is the mace head of an armor. This is the mace head of an armor. And another found 1 meter away from the main deposit. It's the pallet of an armor. And here also one important point. The pallet of an armor, although they found all the main deposit together, but they found the pallet 1 meter besides the main deposit. And this is important point. We shall explain it when we come to the interpretation of them. Both items are the most important human monuments ever found, in my opinion. The mace head is displayed today at Ashmolean Museum in Oxford. The pallet of an armor, it's displayed also today in the front of Cairo Museum. What is the mace meaning? Maces are early weapons which consisted of a stone head attached to a shaft. The shaft was of wood or sometimes of ivory or horn. The shaft tapered away from the head toward the end where it was gripped. The mace head of an armor is bare in its form, looks like bear or briform shape. It is carved from limestone in raised relief showing 10 scenes. We shall show this 10 scenes one by one, and we shall explain each scene alone. It is 19.8 centimeter in height and 18.7 centimeter in its maximum diameter. Its diameter at its base 8.5 centimeter, and the diameter of the socket 4.5 centimeter. The carving for just 10 scenes and the shape of the mace. And here also other important point. Why in the armor he put all this scene in a mace, and why he choose just the mace, and why he didn't choose other shape also, and why 10 scene, why not 9, why not 11, why he determined to 10 scene. All this will explain, both of which we have significance, will explain later. If we compare, because I also, this is the pallet of an armor, which I said this is in the front of the Cairo Museum. All the Egyptologists speak about this. They said all this under a battle and fighting and killing his enemy and pull the hair of the enemy and so on. All of this nothing to do what they said. All this scene explain the creation of the sun. If we compare, because the artist of the mace head, to be honest, he's very skilled person. I like to make a comparison between him and Tutmosis, who carved the bust of Nefertiti. Tutmosis, when he carved the bust of Nefertiti, and until today also still debate, did he inlay the left eye or not? Also this Nefertiti, all the detail of this bust related to one movement of the kind of sun, and he kept the left eye here because left and the east in hieroglyphic have the same word and the same meaning. For this, I believe when he referred to the left by the rising of the sun, come from the east. For this, he keep here. If you look carefully to the color, here looks like a dawn. And always, Tutmosis, we speak about 1353 BC, and Narmer 3100 BC. The artist who carved the bust of Nefertiti successfully depicted the artistic line of the third circular movement. When I said that Horus the Great, when he created the sun, through 3 kinds of movement in his sacred body. The third one, circular movement. Thutmose, the artist of the post of Nefertiti, he applied the third movement in this post, in the creation. Now we are considering the elite of the artists. The artist of the mace head is the only artist in ancient Egypt who depict the all detail of the first movement of the square, and also the bases. He showed me also, he established the shape of the serich. We shall speak also about the serich. It may be a group of artists. Sometimes I feel how very skillful this man to carve this thin scene in this mace head. Sometimes I feel some group of artists, to be honest, group of artists, they combined to produce the mace. But if it was one artist, of course, he was very skilled artist, and I considering him giant of all the ancient Egyptian artists. With his hand, he used all the available tools to shape the scene. He presented a full and precise a statement as was possible. He designed the scene so that each scene can be explained by itself, can be interpreted by itself, or together with the neighboring scene. The artist also succeeded in determining the actual location of each scene through the following. He used the rotation of the mace on the hand of the interpreter, and also he applied the basic cardinal point in the whole mace during you interpreted it, and also in the same time he used the cardinal point in each scene alone. The connection between each scene helps the artist determine the original location of each scene. يعني when we come back, as example, when we come back to the mace head, as example, this is one scene. This scene we can explain, interpret the scene alone. And after we explain the scene, it will guide us to the place which the function of the scene happened on the ground. Also, the connection between each scene helped the artist determine the original location of the scene. Once the interpreter explains the scene that facing him, يعني as example, this scene facing me, after I explain this scene and I can got and held its original place on the ground, when I come to explain the next scene after him, my interpretation to the next scene, it's certain to me that the first location is right. Once the interpreter explains the scene that facing him, then the location of that scene on the ground is revealed. And when he turns the mace to the next scene, the interpretation of that second scene confirms to him that the former location is right. In this way, each scene will gradually indicate its place on the ground in the city of Luxor. The location of each scene will be revealed except for the location of the king. All the scene will show me their location on the ground except king in armor here. And this is what until now big debate if he is minister or no, but I shall explain who is this man. And the servant. يعني all that in scene will show us their location on the ground except the king, the vizier, the servant. The artist also showed all the men barefoot. When we look here, all barefoot. Look, all barefoot. Some with long leg. Some with wigs in their head. some with lines showing the flexed muscles of their calves. Look. Some larger than other, some with their arm hidden under cloak, looks like the king. Some with their arm crossed on their chest, like that. This is also significant. Why he makes this in this three person? Why he put his two arms crossed in their chest? All this will explain. There are also lines that can be considered an error. Also, when we look to the mace head and the palette, sometimes you feel something it's error for you or a mistake for the artist. But the right explanation, the corrected interpretation, it will show this not error. By the time we connect between what appear for the onlooker here as a error and what the big debate happened between Egyptologists, which mentioned by Eric Hornung in his book Isay in one of his book Isay or about idea into image, he spoke a lot about the error. All this error also in my book we collect all what they call error and we release all. Here also when we speak about the hieroglyphic sign, why we call hieroglyphic sign, we don't call hieroglyphic letter, because we have one sign have one sound. We have one sign have two sound. We have one sign have three sound. For this we can't call it in English letter, we call sign. If we look to the hieroglyphic sign in the mace head and in the palette, here considering the early hieroglyphic sign on the mace, both the appearance and the function of Egyptian writing and the art were closely connected with religious beliefs and funerary practices. The Egyptians were firmly convinced of real physical potency of words and image. It has been suggested also that here we are dealing, sometimes some Egyptologists, he said, no, here we are dealing with some words. We are not dealing with picture. The artist or some word rather than picture. This is all opinion being said. It can be also added that rather than words, the artist is using signs indicating deep mystical meaning. The image expresses its meaning. When he gives me a sign looks like a hook, we have to look and investigate what is the function of the hook in the life. Sometimes he don't mean the hook itself, he means the function of the hook. The hook, he holds the fish and the fish cannot be free from it. He explained, he like to tell me, I like to say here, holding the thing. Other thing also here, the artist is using sign indicating deep mystical meaning. The image expresses its meaning. The artist also gives a meaning to the shape and the function of the shape. As example, when he gives me this cord here, this cord, what's this cord for what? What we use cord for? And this tethering cord, we use this cord to tie it something. يبقى he like to draw my attention, tying something. Also, which will guide us to the material. Both, sometime also he used the abstract and the material exist of the sign. Sometimes he used the hook as a hook in hieroglyphic words, and also who use the function of the hook. The function of the hook, which it's holding the fish, holding the thing. Nothing can be free from the hook. And in the same time, he using the hook as from hieroglyphic word, other meaning. The sign also may be metaphor or serious pun, as well as representative image. And so these scenes need to be read sometimes as a depiction of thoughts and the pictorial narrative. In the execution of this scene, the artist used the art of animation. يعني when we speak about the mace here, this is animation. He repeats the person 3 times to imply the movement. And the Egyptologists said this is 3 captives standing toward the king, Naarma, and they cross their hand on their chest as a kind of respect to the king or humiliation for him. No. This is one person. This is one person being repeated 3 times to imply the kind of movement you do it. And when we explain, it will easy for you to understand that. This is kind of animation. You can imagine, مثلا, we speak about artists from 3100 BC. He used the animation. This is something strange, which is also repeating the figure of a person to imply movement. He applied also his skill to the full to express the range of meaning that he intended. Each object that is depicted has significance. Anything in the mace head and the palette, يعني when we say the artist he have a dab with his brush, dab, each touch here from the artist have a meaning, have a significance. So we have to explain each thing in the both object. There are large number also indicated here, such as 1,000 and million, and these numbers are applied to both animal and human. When we look here, the animal including bull, goat, falcons, gazelle, and one of Egyptology considers them antelope, and also cow, and her calf, frog, heron, vulture. All this have meaning. All this have significance in the creation of the sun. These creatures have meaning, whether religious or environmental. In such a depiction, meanings are abbreviated. The mace depicted the first religious rites made by the creator Atum in the original sacred location. This would be permanent example for the king and his Egyptian people in all their lives. The mace may be regarded as the only explanatory map of the creation. The mace explains both the ceremonial function and the sacred sites where these functions occurred within Sacred Luxor. Thank you for this, and I shall start to explain all of this in the next time.